Uh, Purnima, over to
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Good afternoon to all. I am Purnima Barokar, the student of MCOM Part 2. Today, I am here to introduce Sanjivati series. The Department of Commerce started Sanjivati series for students to enlighten them with information, knowledge, and idea about different phases in the field of commerce, business industry, and economics. It is a platform where eminent speakers are invited to share their knowledge and expertise with the faculty and student of commerce. Under Sanjivayati, we had lectures on subjects like employability skills for commerce graduates, mental gym, gender discrimination, and many more. Today, we have gathered here to witness one of the most important subjects, and that is IPR in the business. With growing ideas and startups coming up by young professionals, this topic would be an immense help. Before Vittal introduces the guest, I request our HOD ma'am, Professor Dr. Supriya Patil, to say a few words.
Thank you, Purnima. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start with a simple quote. The value of an idea lies in the using of that idea. And this quote comes from none other than Thomas Alva Edison. Who doesn't know Thomas Alva Edison? If we are having light in our house, it is thanks to one of the greatest inventors who lived up to the age of 84 and had more than 1,000 patents in his name. However, this patents that he had, more than 1,000 ones, many of them are still in use. That is what we have observed. And today, this word, the world of innovation, which was considered to be a part of science and technology primarily, has extended to all and every single discipline that we look at. We have inventions, we have innovations, we have patenting processes which come from every single discipline, including commerce and management. In fact, the students of commerce and management have a very important role to play in this area. Therefore, uh, we thought of inviting an eminent personality in from this area to for our students. Now, I would like to introduce this series to you, sir. Sir, Sanjivati series is like a rejuvenation series for us. We started this post COVID, and our attempt is to bring eminent people, experts of various fields, such as yourself, to this platform and have an interaction with our students, because there is so much knowledge, so much information in the world, and sometimes we get restricted to what is defined by our syllabus, what is defined by our curriculum. Therefore, our series of Sanjiviti started off with an eminent IS officer, Dr. Tripathi, and has included several such speakers in various subject areas. And in this series of subjects, one subject that we were really searching an expert was for, and the area who will talk to us about innovation, about intellectual property rights, and what it is all about. And we are very happy to have you here, sir. So that is the brief introduction. Our students here, they are all from commerce. They have a commerce background, and therefore we request you to discuss with them how we as commerce and management students can actually work in this field of IPR. Without really taking too much time now, I'm going to hand this back to Purnima, and then she can carry out the further processes. Sir, I'm very honored and very happy that you decided to, spend your precious time and enlighten our students. Thank you very much. Over to you, Purnima.
Thank you, ma'am, for your precious words. I now request Vittal to introduce the guest. Vittal, over to you.
Thank you, Purnima. Now, I would like to introduce Sir Vijaykumar Shivpuje, sir. He is currently serving as the director at Patlex Business Solutions, which is a knowledge process outsourcing firm practicing in patents and designs. He was also a IPR lead at IPC Associam, New Delhi. He was also a mentor of change with Government of India's Niti Aayog, which included the Atal Tinkering Labs. He was also a mentor in Startup India in Ministry of Commerce and Industry of Government of India. He is also a co-founder of Pharma Literati, an online education initiative which is working actively in the area of pharmaceutical education and have collaborated with various institutions and universities for skill-based activity. He is also a registered patent agent in Indian Patents Office. Sir has done their education in N-Pharmacy with an LLB degree. He also has an 17 years of experience in pharma corporates and law firm and consultants. He has conducted 100 plus IPR awareness programs in universities, colleges, bar association, incubation centers, custom office, industry chambers, and MSMEs. He is also awarded by ASSOCHAM for outstanding contribution in IPR awareness in 2021. Now, I request Sir to start their talk, and I also request the students to listen to him and keep their questions ready so we can have a question answer session afterwards. Please, sir.
Thank you so much. Just to confirm if I'm clearly audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much, uh, Department of Commerce, Savitri Bhai Phule, Pune University, Honorable Dr. Supriya Patil, Head, Department of Commerce, and Dr. Samala for inviting me for this talk at for the commerce student on the topic of intellectual property rights. Firstly very happy that under this series of Sanjivayati, the rejuvenation, actually the institute decided to cover a topic like intellectual property rights,
So can I
which has
interrupt
been.
you for a second? So please, can I interrupt you for a second? So your
Yes,
camera
please.
is not at all clear, sir. It's distorted actually.
Is it still distorted?
A little, yeah, quite a bit actually. Getting a little clear and then distorted.
Is it clear?
No, no, sir.
Just a
So
second.
sorry, but yeah, a little it was clear in between. And again, it maybe on and off it once again. Okay, sir, it's okay. Only thing is the PowerPoint, you have a PowerPoint or you're just going to speak?
I have a PowerPoint.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah,
No,
now
I'll
it
tell
is
you.
clear, sir. Now it is getting a little clear. Yeah, now it's okay. Yes, sir, now it's okay.
Yeah, and one of the reasons may be that unfortunately it's raining outside here in Mumbai,
Okay.
and that may be the reason there is some bandwidth issue.
Yes, sir. It's fine, sir.
Okay.
Let's continue, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I must take this opportunity to thank Sanjivati, the webinar series by Department of Commerce, wherein the organizers decided to have intellectual property rights as one of the topics for the commerce students specifically. Honestly, I've been conducting a lot of IPR awareness workshops, mostly with the science and technology institutions, wherein patent is something which is kind of mandatory. But then this is, I believe, my second attempt to speak in front of commerce students actually, who have got a bit different background. But let me tell you, IPR actually is directly connected to business, and that's what my focus would be for the entire session as such. And I'm pretty confident many of you would definitely love this topic because it's pretty interesting. It's just connected to every field of business. In fact, whatever we are doing right now, of course not part of business but as a part of education as well. If we for the time being consider education as an industry, then also intellectual property rights is something which is very much significant for the like the education field or education as an industry as well. Okay. IPR is pretty important, all because as Dr. Supriya mentioned, uh, any idea until and unless you use it doesn't have any value associated with it. Let me put it in a very simple terms that we call it in a startup ecosystem as such. कोई भी आइडिया जब तक आप अच्छे से एग्जीक्यूट नहीं कर सकते ना, it doesn't have any value actually. And when we think of ideas and when we think of the execution or the use of it, it need not be just for the sake of business. It can be for the, I would say, purpose of betterment of the society as well. There are a lot of not for profit kind of organizations as well who are into innovation, but then they are ensuring that their innovations or inventions are getting executed, the products are getting used by the people basically, and that's what the intent of the entire the innovation ecosystem has been. And I think this is the right time to have this kind of session for the institute. If we look at last 2-3 years, the way the things have changed, the way our priorities have changed in last 2-3 years. Like now everything is either pre-COVID and post-COVID. Ma'am also mentioned post-COVID. How we are working. That is something which has uh, set our priorities very differently, and there was a lot of innovation happening during COVID as well as post-COVID as such. Also, if you look at government of India, what they are doing in terms of all the activities specifically, be it a Startup India campaign, Make in India campaign, Innovative India. Then we have a lot of other ventures of government, be it Atal Innovation Mission, be it with respect to any support the government is providing, especially from the education sector. The focus has been shifting from teaching to innovation to entrepreneurship now. What does that mean basically? अभी तक ये expected था कि teachers would be teaching. Thereafter it was expected from teachers that they should do research as well as help the students to do research. Now moving ahead, what is expected is that the teachers should encourage the students to have their own ventures. Teachers should encourage the students to have their own businesses actually. And let me tell you, when we think of innovation or businesses, it's just not necessary that आप जिस field से हो उसी field में आपको business करना है. I have seen a lot of people from commerce background who are really running good pharma or healthcare businesses as such. Although I am coming from pharma side, I am currently working with a lot of other industries outside pharma. During the unfortunately in our education ecosystem, we keep ourselves restricted to our field. But let me tell you, the startup ecosystem or the innovation ecosystem is a really very broad. No one asks you what's your background, where are you from, arts, science, or commerce. I have, in fact, an interesting story. I belong to a very small town in Maharashtra called Latu. We filed a patent application for one of the farmers. Actually, he's 60 years old, and let me tell you, वो सिर्फ 8th standard pass है. But then he's innovating. He's actually coming up with some kind of inventions and such. So the field is very broad. We don't need to restrict ourselves to what our educational expertise or background is. We need to ensure rather that our horizon or canvas is bigger compared to what is being provided under so education form under the so-called formal. Highlight about the innovation IPR or the startup ecosystem in your life, as a career, maybe as a job or as a businessman. हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में वी हैव ऑलवेज बीन टॉट लाइक इन द मूवी थ्री इडियट्स में जैसे बताया गया है, everyone is running after something, and we are just ending up with the first, second, third prizes, or first, second, third, who is coming first, who is coming second, and who is coming third. Unfortunately, in the business or in the real life world, it doesn't happen like that. The education system tells you more about competition, but the business, the innovation, the startup works on the principle of collaborations. Why I'm saying so? Because innovation or startup or business is not just one person, because I may have some expertise but I may lags at something actually. So the collaborations, the teamwork is very essential with respect to the success in the innovation, and in fact we have seen honestly, when there is a great teamwork, when there are great teams, then there is a success in those kind of ventures basically. So it is very essential. And when we think of these teams for innovation, you have to think in a way that it's just not mera friend hai, we are both from commerce, and we go really well and we should come up with a venture basically. Rather, in case of teamworks for bit for innovation and startup, it is always like what I lag at. Probably as an individual, I'm more of a science person. I don't know anything about the business or the commerce side. And then let us say my wife is from commerce side. She has an expertise in that domain. Now that fits really well for my business because she has some expertise which can be utilized for my business, and I have got some expertise. That's how the entire innovation ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, or the IPR thing actually works. Now let us come to the topic that has been allotted to me, what we call as intellectual property rights. Of course हम सब ने सुना हुआ है. I'll tell you some examples as well. हमने IPR कहाँ सुना हुआ है, या फिर how are we connected with IPR basically. If you look at the word, the term IPR, the intellectual property rights, in that we have got three separate things basically. And so the intellectual, which is more about the tech side, art side, or creation side, that's what we call as the intellectual creativity basically, or intellectual ability. And as Dr. Supriya mentioned in her initial talk, the creativity need not be restricted to one particular sector. And you can see that in fact, last year when we had that Shark Tank India season 1, in that we saw that the people were from different background, different locations, different age group, different teams were coming asking for some kind of investment, and that's how it works basically. That creative part, or the new part, what you're doing something new for this, new in terms of the even let me tell you an example. I have got this iPhone now with me. How would I say that this iPhone is mine? I own this iPhone. I have got a legal receipt. I have got a receipt when I purchased the phone. I got a receipt that works as a legal proof that I own it, right? And definitely when I purchased the iPhone, I got a receipt for that. But on the other hand, I have also got a pen जिसको खरीदते हुए मैंने receipt नहीं लिया. The reason being, there is a value associated with a phone. There may not be that much value associated with a pen or a pencil. That's the reason we are not going for the legal receipt for that. Now, think of your ideas, technologies, art, creativity as something which has got some value. When is it that it has a value? And as Dr. Sophia rightly mentioned, if it is commercializable, if it can be usable, if there is a business potential for that, in that case, we need to ensure that the ideas are protected, legally protected, जिसको value है. Because I'll tell you what happens. I have an idea. I feel that it has got great business potential. So during COVID times, four of the students from Nasik, they came up with this face shield, the face mask actually, during that time. And it was a unique design for that. They felt that there is a business potential for that. And they also thought that, okay, someone else should not copy my idea. And that's where the legal ownership, I own this iPhone. That's the way I own this idea, right? So in commerce, I feel you would have also learned about something as a competition law, the monopoly, duopoly, and so it is always recommended in that there should be a fair and enough competition for every product, right? Now IPR is exactly reverse that of competition. IPR creates monopolies, and of course monopolies are not good for the market. But remember, the intent of intellectual property rights, the IP system, is not to create monopolies. Rather, it is to promote the innovative activities. If you innovate, if you come up with something new and it has got a business value associated with it, then go for legal protection for it. And that's what these three terms, IP, that is intellectual, which is of technology, property, which is for the business, rights, which is for the legal rights. That's an amalgamation of these three things. And that's the reason you would see an engineer who is or probably an artist is also working in the field of IPR. I am from pharmaceutical technology, healthcare technology. There will be a lot of lawyers who would be in the IPR field, as well as there would be a lot of business professionals. A very simple question I had asked in one of the B schools recently, for in one of my sessions, is how are you going to evaluate this phone? Can you tell me the value of this phone? The student asked, is it iPhone 12 or 13 or 13 Pro? I told the student and they immediately told me the value. What is the value of, let us say, the gold today for एका तोळ्याचा सोन्याचा भाव काय आहे, right? Everyone knows. Now if I tell you what is the value of an idea, so because it's an intangible asset, out of that idea, what is that business that we are going to create tomorrow? That we don't know, right? It can be evaluated basically. And of course, a lot of chartered accountants are doing this. What we call this as a IPR valuation, patent valuation, trademark valuation, copyright valuation. There are specific methods of IP valuation as well. How to evaluate those technology, how to evaluate a painting. For someone like me, like, not that artistic kind of person. Even Mona Lisa's painting doesn't have any value for me, but someone who understands the art in that may evaluate it at a very high price, right? That valuation, the business valuation of also requires a bit of understanding of the domain, right? So this is generally we call as intellectual property rights. So मेरे पास idea है, I protect it legally, and then I get a benefit out of it. Actually, I get a monopoly for limited period of time. So only I can use those ideas or the creativities. I'll tell you a couple of examples, those we know actually. So there was this movie Three Idiots, which I again and again repeat in all my sessions actually. We have this character called Funsuk Wangdu, who is a scientist who has got a lot of inventions basically. And then there is another character, Chatur Ramlingam, who comes down to get some signature on some of the documents actually. At the end of the movie, that's how it's shown. So the character Funsuk Wangdo has got some ideas. Those are legally protected. He is the owner. Except him, no one can use it. And that's the reason. Now Chatur, the character Funsuk Wangdo doesn't want to commercialize it. He doesn't have the capability to commercialize it. But Chatur Ramlingam wants to commercialize it. Then he has to take a license for the art, the creativity, or technology. This is one example everyone can correlate to. Those of you who understand Marathi, Maharashtrian जे आहेत, त्यांच्यासाठी there was this one movie called De Dhakka. In that we have this character Makaranda Naspure, who invents a part, and at the end of the movie it is shown that his brother-in-law unfortunately loses that part. And then his friend Makaranda Naspure's friend comes to his house and tells him, you don't need to worry, some other company is commercializing that part, but that company cannot commercialize it because मी तुझ्या नावावरती एक त्याचं पेटंट घेतलेलं आहे. That means the monopoly is with you now. Without your permission, no one can do that. But this also explore a lot of opportunities in terms of licensing, how that will also actually try to see. So when we think of the creativity part, I have got a lot of people who are creative, and हमारी class में भी बहुत सारे लोग होंगे जो creative होंगे. Someone may be a singer, someone may be a scientist, someone may be a fashion designer, someone may be an actor, someone may be a cricketer, now everyone, each of these people are the legends in their own field. Now a very simple question I have is, can we say that Arijit Singh is better than Manish Malhotra, or MS Dhoni is better than Kajol? Can we say that? No. The creativities are different, the domains they are working in are different. And this also gives you an idea that the creativity or the excelling in any field can, field is immaterial. Excelling in that gives you the kind of value associated with it. Actually, the creativity can be from any field, I would say. Okay. Now, when you can't compare the creativities, definitely you don't have the blanket. यहाँ पे अगर आप देखते हो that creativity, business value, and legal protection, all these creativities have got a business value. Each one of them is earning for those creativities actually, and that's the reason we have got different types of intellectual property rights. The one we have at least heard, then there are a lot of others, the copyright, trademark. most of the chartered accountant, company secretaries, when they register any company, be it as a LLP, be it as a partnership firm, be it a private limited company, at that point of time, nowadays they are also uh, getting the trademark TM registered as such. Most of the CA firms also have some collaborators, lawyers who are trademark agents or attorneys who help them protect the logo of that particular, I would say, the company as such. Now, if you see here, we have a logo of Department of Commerce, we have a logo of SPPU as well. Now these logos can be protected under trademark, and so it is very essential to understand different kinds of IP. Also, I want to also let you know that these different types of IPs are like they are not specific. I mean, they are not applicable to every industry. So patent, as Dr. Supriya had mentioned in her talk initially, patent is something which is more related to the scientific community. Copyright is more related to the artistic community, the software work, the literature, the art, the sing entire Bollywood, the television industry, the newspaper industry, the web industry, the IT industry is dependent on copyright. Trademark is there for everything. Every other product has got a trademark. Every product, rather, I would say, and I can give you an example. आप अभी बैठ के आपके पास जो बैग है आपका या पर्स है, उसमें कोई भी प्रोडक्ट निकालो, उस पे आर या टीएम लिखा होगा. That's what the value of a trademark is. And I'll tell you, we'll see some examples of this to understand it. We also have something called trade secret. Not a specific law, there is no specific law in India, but it's also a wonderful concept. Basically, we'll understand that. Then we have something called as design, which is for the external outlook of the product, and geographical indication, which is more for a location. We'll see that all these types of course, there are at least 10 to 15 types of IPs, but these are the 6 ones which are very essential for us as a student or for the purpose of business as such. Now, we'll try to understand these one by one. The intent of my session is to give you an overview of what do you mean by intellectual property rights, and you need to understand the different types of IPR so that you are also in a position to, I would say, understand the business implications of it. Let us start with the first one, which is industrial design. The design recognizes the creation, which may be in terms of shape, configurations, or basically कैसे दिखता है product, right? The looks of a product, basically, that can be protected under industrial design. Now, industrial design is generally for 10 years, which can be renewed for 5 years. Now we'll see some examples actually. Now look at these examples that I have put in here. E-cycle, the tire, this is coming from TVS actually. Then a bike which is protected by Honda Motors. Then we have this Rajesh Kumar Dhamelia ji from Surat, who are into the fashion industry, a sari and a blouse set. Then we have a company like Huawei, which is into telecom, a Chinese company, a smartwatch ka body, a reclining chair. Now we have LG Electronics, refrigerator, Relaxo footwear. The company is protecting the sole, footwear sole. Then we have cloth drying stand, a bag. We have a jar of mixer grinder, electric scooter as well. Now, what are we speaking about? How the product looks, and I'll tell you the industries which are dependent on the design registration. Now, if we go to market and then we see that हम लोग वो कैसा दिखता है उसके basis पे those products which we purchase. Like for example, we purchase the clothes ki कैसे दिखता है, right? Based on that, basically. I'll also tell you a simple case or example जिससे हमें design easily समझ में आए. So like, this happens frequently with, I would say, at least with me actually, when I go with my wife for कोई जैसे साड़ी परचेस करने के लिए जाते हैं शॉप, I've experienced this, and मेल्स आप अगर कभी गए हो तो किसी के साथ, तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि ये बहुत कॉमन क्वेश्चन है जो कि शॉपकीपर को पूछा जाता है, एंड विच इज लाइक, भैया ये कलर में ये डिजाइन दिखाओ, मतलब जिस कलर की साड़ी पसंद है उसका डिजाइन नहीं पसंद है, करेक्ट? नाउ द डिजाइन व्हाट वी स्पीक is industrial design, how it looks basically. And another example is, for example, is jewelry design. Now mere liye, when I go to a jewelry shop, let's say I either have a silver, gold or diamond in that, or at the most platinum in that. But then there is a pricing difference many a times just because of the design, actually how it looks. So this design doesn't protect the content, but it just protects how it looks, the shape of the bottle, the shape of a phone, the shape of a e-scooter, the shape of a school bag, the shape of a clothes drying stand, the footwear, refrigerator. The industries, fashion, entire fashion industry, Sabyasachi se leke Manish Malhotra tak, everyone protects their clothes under designs. The entire jewelry industry, कभी कभी ऐसे होता है when you go to a jewelry shop, like you ask for a specific design and the shopkeeper says we don't have it, there is a high probability that वो protected हो, वो jeweler को पता है कि मैं इसको, because someone else has a right, he can't copy it, right? How does the intellectual property rights work? IPR जैसे मेरा खुद का प्रॉपर्टी है, मेरा कहीं जमीन है, that point मेरे पास अगर डिजाइन है, ट्रेडमार्क है, पेटेंट है, तो सम we call it as infringement. No one else can use it without my permission, but I can sell it, I can rent it out just like your normal property. That's why we call it as an intangible property. It's also a property. There is a valuation, rather in terms of when you have any due diligence for mergers and acquisitions, name of the company, the trademark or the any intellectual property they have got is also valuated in that case, right? So designs are wonderful rights specifically for, and third example, beyond the fashion industry, jewelry industry, I can tell you from the automobile industry. किसी भी कार का शेप, हुंडई की कार, मारुति की कार, टाटा की कार, तीनों कार में हो सकता है कि सेम पार्ट लगा है सेम वेंडर का, बट तीनों कार का डिजाइन, तीनों 800 सीसी की कार है, बट तीनों का डिजाइन कभी सेम नहीं होगा, for two reasons. One is brand identity and second is industrial design. Most of them are protected under, the looks of the car are protected under industrial design. So this is the first type of protection. These are private rights, individuals can get the right. We have one of the most amazing type of IP, which is called a geographical indication. GI is pretty interesting, and most of us know it actually. Geographical indication is any product or goods which has a unique quality because of a location. मतलब एक जगह की नाम से वो famous है. And so there are three conditions. एक, it has specific quality, and that quality is because of a location, and the quality is because of either the local soil, climate, or the local skill set there. I'll tell you some lot of examples I have, here. India is rather very beautiful. We have got a lot of GIs actually, and I'll tell you some GIs from Maharashtra specifically. We have Paithani saris, that there is a local manufacturing skill set, I would say, people who have that skill to have those work actually, embroidery, craft work basically. Then we have Nasik grapes, और जलगांव बनाना, नागपुर ऑरेंजेस, महाबलेश्वर स्ट्रॉबेरी, जहां पे ये एग्रीकल्चर और फूड प्रोडक्ट है, द और इवन युअर कोकणी हापूस आंबा ज्याला म्हणतो आपण, द अल्फान्सो मँगोज फ्रॉम कोकण. Now the uniqueness of the Alfonso mangoes is that although I grow them in some other region, probably it may not have the same taste. It is all because of the local soil in Konkan and the climate in Konkan that gives it a uniqueness. Now that can be protected under the GI. GI is a community right. It's not an individual or private right. When I say community, it is not for any religion or any I would say any specific caste, but rather it is people who have that skill set from that location. For example, Solapuri Chadar, Kolhapuri Chappal are wonderful examples, wherein local people have skill set which gives a quality to the product, and that's how the products are known now, right? So we have the examples like Kashmiri Pashmina, Darjeeling tea, down south Dharwad Peda. If someone is from Gujarat, then Kutch embroidery or Surat Zari craft, Chanderi fabric, Bikaneri bhujia. A lot of GIs all across India. Now, when it comes to Pune, when I did a session in Pune, I asked what is so famous from Pune, and I had got two answers actually that point of time. One was definitely the Puneri misal pav, that's what they said, and the other was Chitale Bakarwadi actually. But when I compare it with the products, then these products are not fit for GI. The reason being, the simple question is, okay, it's okay that the product is famous from and it's from the Pune region, absolutely fine. Is it unique? Yes, it is unique. The taste of Chitale Bakarwadi is unique. But the quality, does it have anything to do with local soil, the climate, or the skill set? Then probably the answer is no, and that's the reason even Mumbai Vada Pav is not protected under GI. It's a wonderful right, and I would say this is something which works for the local communities, the local MSME units, local manufacturers, the from the agriculture sector, from the handicraft sector, as well as I would say the something like local manufacturing. For them, this protects their rights. That means someone outside Solapur cannot call their chadar as Solapuri chadar, or a strawberry grown outside Mahabaleshwari cannot be called as Mahabaleshwar strawberry. That's how it works. The legal rights are with the entire community now, and these are not private rights. These are group rights, community rights basically. And these need to be filed by the local community or local group of people who need to file a GI for that. Copyright, very common for those all of you who are sitting here. Every one of us is involved into some kind of creative activity. Photograph, selfie lete hain hum log. We write, some of us may be poets, हम लोग न्यूज़पेपर में कुछ लिखते हैं. Many of us are singers. Original जो work होता है authorship का, that is something we call it as can be protected under copyright basically. The entire artistic community, as I said, the entire Bollywood, the television industry, the newspaper industry, the video shooting. A simple question I had asked in one of my sessions is, for sure the institute is recording this session right now. Now, who owns the copyright for this recording? Is it the institute? Is it the speaker? Or whom? Or for example, I take a photograph of a third party. Without your permission, I take your photograph. Is it allowed? Can I have the copyright over that photograph? Actually, the copyright industry, I would say something which is more also based on ethical, one thing is legal, the other one is ethical as such. And let me tell you, if you really want to succeed in business, you need to be legally correct as well as ethically correct as well. and that's how you can sustain for long. Let me tell you, starting something, a new business is easy, but running that for a long period of time, something also requires the ethical approach as well, and that is very, very important for the students specifically who are young. Most of us, in fact, I would say each one of us at some point of time have downloaded movie from a torrent website. You know what? It's a copyright, what we call as a piracy. The word herein for infringement is piracy, basically, right? We feel, हाँ क्या हो रहा है, फ्री में मिल रहा है, लेते हैं. The entire industry का loss हो रहा है वो. And so of course nowadays it has been a bit difficult to have those, because the Bollywood and the movie industry has used technology to its best to avoid these kind of things. But how does it actually work? I have this wonderful example of this girl Priya Warrior, jiska ek specific pose tha, and that winking pose, a video actually that made her the national crush at some point of time. Actually, probably she earned so much of money out of that pose or that video. Probably बहुत सारे लोगों के entire career में उतना उनका salary नहीं होता. You never know where is this original work of authors. कौन कब कैसे famous हो जाए, we don't know. Many of you may be on TikTok or like the Insta reels banate ho. We know the value coming out of it. Many of you may have YouTube channels as well. There is a value. When there is a value coming out of it, there is a question of legal ownership. जिस मोमेंट पे उसको आप रेवेन्यू जनरेट करते हो, then there is a question of ownership. The one who has taken a photograph और जिसका फोटोग्राफ लिया है, who owns it? That's a $1 billion question. That's what is protected under copyright, basically. A novel, but remember, original. आप अगर original work कर रहे हो, then in that case, it can be protected under something called as copyright. Then we have another type of IP. So we have seen design, copyright, GI. Fourth type of IP is called as a trademark. As I said, every product, the brand name, the Apple, IBM, M is the moment you see M, I'm loving it. You know that it's McDonald's. There is some kind of quality that you expect for the product, basically, right? Any logo design, anything that gives an idea about the quality or the brand, what we call as brand value, all these things are protected under trademark. It can be a logo, it can be a words written in stripe form, or maybe it can be a tagline as well. I'm loving it. The moment we see it, we connect it to McDonald's. Or MVC, we connect it to McDonald's, although McDonald's is not written. The moment we see M, we know that Mekalu Tikki or burger, what they are selling. So we are basically giving a lot of features of a product just looking at the logo. Your logo works a lot of, I would say, role in terms of business value for any business, for that sake. The taglines, as I said, and this is irrespective of industry. Now, one of the important thing about trademark is you need to register it as well. Although it's not mandatory, but at some point of time, if you register, that's good. What happens? Amrita Tulyas now, the chai jise hum bolte, all across Maharashtra, we are seeing those Amrit Tulya shops now. Everyone has got some kind of product and more or less similar tastes as well. But then the product, the name is generalized now. At some point of time, if someone had protected it, that point of time, probably कोई और उस नाम से नहीं बेच पाता. Would have got the monopoly, but it is not protected, basically. Also, think of the fight between Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani over it was just not for the business empire, Reliance Empire. it was also for the name. Now, at the end of the day, one was given the name Reliance Industries Limited, and the other was Reliance ADAG Group, Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group. Now, because both of them want to continue with the legacy that is created, right? So there is a value associated with that brand name. Like, I have to start a shop, or I would say a restaurant. I would like to start it with the name of MacD, or get a franchisee licensing of the trademark, and then start with that, basically, right? That's how there is a value associated with it. तो आप अगर कोई नई चीज बना, and these things at early stage we are least bothered, but now of course there is now a lot of awareness, and all the CAs and chartered the company secretaries recommend the new business owners, the startups, the MSMEs, every business to protect their logo or name of that business under trademark, right? Lastly, we have patents. Of course, as I said, these are more technology related. These are for the scientific communities. Any scientific invention basically is something which can be protected under the patent. I won't go into the details of patents because there has been a lot of discussion happening over it. We know it, as well as, since generally it's more about the scientific community. But then remember, there is a specific time limit for which the rights are given. So like in case of patent, these are for 20 years. In case of design, it is for 10 years, which can be renewed for 5 years. Trademark is permanent. You have to renew it after every 10 years. Okay, GI is permanent, you have to renew. Patent and design cannot be renewed, basically. Also, I think I missed out on this trade secret. We don't have a specific law in India for trade secret, but the concept is keep it as a secret. And how it can be done, it can be through the confidentiality disclosure agreements or the non-disclosure agreements as such. मतलब मैं आपको कोई डिस्क्लोजर दे रहा हूं, आई एम टेलिंग यू समथिंग, यू डोंट नीड टू टेल इट टू, हम लोग जैसे बोलते हैं ना, मी तुला सांगतो पण तू तिसऱ्या कोणाला सांगू नको, and we know it's viral already, like, but in legal sense, in business sense, these things need to be protected legally through the confidentiality disclosure agreement. जिस दिन आप किसी corporate को join करोगे, you would sign a CDA that it can be as simple as who are the vendors, what are the rates at which this company is getting a product, right? All these things need to be kept as a trade secret, actually, and that's what we call as a trade secret. This is my last slide to conclude, to give you an example how IP works. Now this product has got every type of IP. The product, technology, the content has a patent, the name of the product or the brand can be protected under trademark, the design of the tube can be protected under industrial design, any one ingredient from a specific location which has a unique taste can be protected under GI, and the content written over it can be protected under copyright, and some part of it may, how to manufacture, may be a trade secret as well. So I mean to say, every field has got some kind of IP associated with it. We need to understand what is the right kind of IP for that kind of business, or that kind of, I would say, the innovation, basically. And that was my intent of this particular session. IP, as I said, it creates monopolies. It adds a lot of value to the brand. We have the enhanced product line. In business terms, we call it as line extension products, basically. You can have you have a competitive edge because, of course, the brands have edge over others, like, it also has lateral revenue potential, because let us say, if you have a brand name or a logo, and you don't have, let's say, a presence in a new state or new district, you can give the license to someone else who would sell there and give you some revenue out of it. That's how the IP is very important, typically from the business perspective. That's what I have to tell all of you today in this session. I would love if there are any specific questions. Firstly, I've tried to make it simple based on the needs of, I would say, the commerce students. But then I would also like to have some kind of feedback as well. Once again, thank you. Thank you so much, all the students who joined offline as well as online. Thank you so much, the organizers, for allowing me to and inviting me for this session. And I look forward to meet you in person as well. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so
Sure,
much.
sure. So, but we have some questions. Do you have
Yeah,
time to answer them? Yes.
absolutely, ma'am. I would be. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, since there is some echo going on in the class, I thought I would just collect the questions and ask you. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah,
So on behalf of the students, I'm asking you. So the
yeah.
first question is like from Priyanka. She wants to know if she wants to apply for a patent, what does she need to do?
Oh, in case of patents, the I think that's not only for patent but for every type of IP. You need some kind of experts who, like, we file patents and design. Typically, a lawyer or an advocate would file trademark for you, or a copyright for you, or a geographical indication. Basically, as I said, patent is more for the scientific community. आपका जो भी scientific invention है, that you need to ensure that it is new, it is unpredictable, and then we do some kind of evaluation for that, whether it is patentable, and thereafter all these rights are given by the government of India. So we have the IP office, intellectual property office, IP India. The website has all the details for all types of IP and their registration as well as such. But then specifically, if you ask me for patents, then in that case, so we need to register, we need to file these documents, some documents with the patent office. There would be an evaluation, and post that there would be a grant or rejection based on the requirements. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, sir. So then the next question is actually, there are a few questions. I hope you have time, right?
Yeah,
Can
ma'am.
I
I
go?
can take all the questions. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, sir. Raj wants to know that what is the most common mistakes done by firms on intellectual property?
I think that's a wonderful question. I must say this because, and in fact, that's what we have been observing since last 5, 6 years. Uh, most of the firms, small firms specifically, the MSME startups, they don't recognize the IP they have. That's the biggest mistake. Because, like, for example, if you have a patent for your scientific invention, if you don't register it, if you market it, you can't get a patent for that later. I'll tell you a case from Sangli actually. Like, uh, uh, it, साल से submersible pumps बेच रहा है. The agriculture submersible pumps, they are selling, manufacturing and selling it actually from Sangli. They never registered their IP. They thought हमें यहीं पे बेचना है, हमें registration की जरूरत नहीं है. Right? Now they're selling it since last 30 years. Now when the next generation wanted the product to be taken outside Sangli district, they got a trademark infringement notice. So there was another person who started this business 5 years back, but he registered डिस्ट्रिक्ट में वो बेच रहा है, बट XYZ नाम का उन्होंने रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं किया. When the matter went to the court, what happened is किसी और ने रजिस्टर किया है, although they had the first, मतलब 30 साल से बेच रहा है सांगली का वेंडर. नया वेंडर जो है, he is based in Rajasthan, 5 years से बेच रहा है, but that 5-year old party registers it as a trademark. Now when the matter went to court, the Sangli party said कि सर हम लोग 30 साल से बेच रहे हैं, हमने इस नाम से बेच रहे, that's our identity, but why didn't you register it? At the end of the day, and the matter was, I would say, this gives you a lot of idea what is the biggest mistake is. जब court का decision आया that Sangli party is allowed only to sell in Sangli district, outside Sangli they cannot use that name. आपका brand identity खत्म हो गया. Identifying IP and registering IP is the most common mistakes all the firms actually do. But as we have, and I think that's the reason I must congratulate and thank the institute for organizing this session for these students, because if they are going into their own practice, let us say as a CS or as a CA, or they're working in any firm, that point of time they need to ensure कि वहां पे IP create हो रहा है, उसको registration भी mandatory है. I hope this answers the question.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. Now the other question is by Aditya, and he asks that is there any governing law existing for intellectual property? And if not, then why?
There are laws, absolutely. So we have patent act, trademark for every type of IP. I actually didn't go into more the legal aspect of the IPR, because I thought it we should restrict ourselves to the business aspect actually. But yes, there are laws. Patent Act 1970, we have individually acts except the trade secret. So patent का act है, GI act है, the copyright act है, the trademark act है, design act भी है.
ओके सर, ओके सर. सर अभी ये क्वेश्चन है, संपूर्णा पूछ रही है आपको कि इन अ कंट्री लाइक इंडिया वेयर पीपल आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ सर्टेन थिंग्स, मींस जनरल आइडियाज है उनके पास, पर वो कैसे समझे कि उसको वो आईपीआर में कन्वर्ट कर सके?
That's a very, I would say, a generalized or vague question. But I would like to answer it in a very crisp manner, because as a student, as an academic institution, I believe it is the institution or the university we can have that ecosystem. I'll tell you a case of one of the universities in Chandigarh. They have got a idea drop box. बच्चे वहां पे आइडियाज लिख के ड्रॉप करते हैं ड्रॉप बॉक्स में, जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे कंप्लेंट बॉक्स होता है ना, आइडियाज ड्रॉप बॉक्स, एंड देयर इज अ टीम of experts like me who evaluates every idea whether it is protectable under IP or not. It is not necessary कि मैं बायोटेक से हूं तो आइडिया बायोटेक का ही होना चाहिए. The students have given that flexibility to honestly put their ideas from any field, generally any field. And I would say it's not it's an expert's job to evaluate it. And that's where I would say the institute or the university, definitely the university, I believe, has IP cell. They would be more than happy to evaluate these ideas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So actually, this leads me to ask a question, because we have 2 credit course for the second year, for the first years, and they have something on business plans, and they students come out with something really nice and novel. They are very abstract. And many a times it's very difficult to get, of course, it's a conventional one, so you are marked for it and all that. But many a times the question is how to get the real talent out of these ideas, or how to conceptualize these ideas is always a problem for me. How would I do it?
Ma'am, I believe we got this session at the right time, I would say. Ma'am, we as a company are working in the startup ecosystem, entrepreneurship, incubation ecosystem. We have good collaborators who are part of our ecosystem, who are the right people to not only help you. See, IP protection is just one part. At the end of the day, as Dr. Supriya mentioned in her initial talk, is that these ideas should be executed, right? So I believe as an institute, we should have that ecosystem, and that's what is expected as an incubator or as an accelerator. That we can have those kind of the so-called mentors. If you look at my profile, it speaks of a mentor for Atal and Startup India, and that's where I believe. See, the young students have a lot of energy. They have got a lot of creative ideas as well. I think as an institute, it is our duty to ensure that they are protected, as well as we are providing them an ecosystem. Because hota kya, ma'am, it's not a rocket science, honestly. Jab bacha, when they are go outside, they are not in the position to bargain, I would say, with the vendors, jo bhi service provide kar raha hai. It's not a rocket science. But as an institute, as a university, yes, we can create that those ecosystems jahan pe all these students are getting the same benefits at a maybe at a much cheaper price, and with the right kind of mentoring at the institute. I think that would solve this purpose. And when you mentioned about the topics about the in the webinar series, actually, I would be more than happy to assist Sanjivati for identifying right topics as well as identifying right speakers as well, because we have got a lot of people who are into the system, who are mentors, who have been, and we have been mentoring the students specifically because we realize, of course there is no specific age for creativity, but these students between 18 to 25 years, they are at their most creative best, and if we can mentor them properly, then probably that would be the contribution from us as an institute as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, sir. We'll think on this terms. Definitely. Thank you. Now, Akash asks you that you said that it's a monopoly, right? The individual's idea is a monopoly for him. He says that how can an individual ideas be monopoly?
So once you register, you get a legal right over it. So like that's your idea. So iPhone mera hai. This is my monopoly. Idea mera hai. You have to register it, na? Once you register, aapko, okay, I'll tell you a simple example. uh, there is a land, a farm basically, that's in my name. It's my monopoly, although it's a natural resource, but that's my monopoly now, right? Same thing happens to the idea, but remember, you have to register it and get it granted from the patent office. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sure. Shraddha is asking you what are the essential patent documents to be generated and submitted by a potential patentee?
Okay, so there are of course some administrative forms that are required, like form 135. All these forms are available on the Indian Patent Office website. Beyond that, the technical invention need to be put in a proper format. So just like we have these research papers, the patent document is more of a techno legal document basically. उस research paper जैसा ही होता है, but it's a more of a legal document, techno legal document actually. And that we call as form 2. That includes all your details of the invention. See, आपको monopoly इसलिए मिल रहा है कि आप उसको disclose कर रहे हैं, okay, for a limited period of time. तो 20 साल के लिए आपको monopoly मिलेगा. Okay, these are some of the documents.
Yeah. So there's last question, and it's like Vinod is asking that इतने सारे chips है, बहुत सारे chips है, पर then ये chips का कैसे ये हो रहा है पेट, I mean जो भी उनको क्या मिल रहा है, I mean GI क्या हो रहा है उसका, मीन्स अगर बालाजी ले तो बालाजी भी है, अगर दूसरा कौन सा है वो अपना लेज है. हाँ. So
ma'am, most
इसका
of them
क्या?
are protected under the brands actually. टेस्ट में ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं है, हमें भी पता है. कुछ जैसे कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स का स्पेसिफिक इंग्रेडिएंट हमें नहीं पता है. those they keep it as trade secret. वो बताते नहीं है क्या यूज कर रहे हैं बेसिकली, like they keep it as a trade secret. But most of the products are sold on the brand name only, like आपने जैसे बोला बालाजी है, या in the food sector we have lot of players like we have Haldiram, या Lay's जैसे बोला, which is a global player. These are based on the brand name basically, the name actually, and name के basis पे, that's the trademark के basis पे वहां पे हो रहा है सर. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I call upon Vitthal to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. So you told us about the how intellectual property rights are important, how their technology, art, then how they are related to law, business, and various creators. You also told us how what are the different types of IPR, that is designs, geographical indications, copyright, trademarks, and patents. You also told us that the creativity is different for the different people. and how idea execution is important, how we can uh, explain our horizon based on our views, and you also explained them with the real life examples. So we, I, Vittal Godke, thank you for giving us your kind words and providing your insights on behalf of Department of Commerce. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
अपन ने भी देखा है। हाँ, प्रोजेक्ट को कैसे बैठ हम कैसे खाते हैं यार लोग का निशान में सर यार यार लोग शान बसाओ भाई कौन था इधर भाई